Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for this Treat Me Right live conversation from Women Heart. I'm Selena Gorey, the CEO of Women Heart, and I am so honored today to be joined by Joy O'Neill Riley, a longtime loved Women Heart champion whose story is both powerful and all too common. For more than 2 years, Joy's symptoms, including extreme fatigue, sudden weight gain, and difficulty breathing, were dismissed. It wasn't until she applied for life insurance that a routine EKG finally revealed advanced heart failure. Joy is here today to share how she advocated for herself after being misdiagnosed, how proper treatment changed her life, and what she wants all women to know about standing up for their health. So, Joy, let's get started.
Sure.
Can you briefly introduce yourself and share your heart journey with us?
Sure. So my name is Joy, and way back in 2015, 14, I just noticed a big change in my health. And I would go repeatedly to my doctor and say, I'm gaining weight, I'm short of breath, I just don't feel right. Something is I feel like something's wrong. And I was dismissed. It was, I think, like most women or most of my friends, I was kind of going through a lot of personal life changes. My children were leaving home, just a whole lot of things just happening. And I think it was easy for the doctor to say, well, the life changes that you're going through are making you sad, or you're getting to be a certain age and having premenopause or menopausal symptoms. It's all in your head. You just need to, find time for yourself. You're really busy at work, learn to delegate, all sorts of things. And I was really just dismissed over and over and over. And one of the things that the doctor told me to do was like, just dedicate yourself to your work, find a purpose in your life. And so I'm just working more than ever, trying to, get out of this so-called funk that I'm in, and just really burned out at work. And so where I work, they did a life insurance exam, or bought a life insurance policy, so that if anything ever happened to me, the organization that I worked with would receive a payment. And it was in that life insurance exam that it came back that I had a complete left bundle branch block. Now, my doctor had tested me for cancer, and they had done tons of blood work and all sorts of things. So this complete left bundle branch block came back, and one thing kind of led to another. And the insurance company sent me a letter. It was towards the end of May, that said, we cannot honor the price that we gave you because you did not disclose your heart disease. And of course, I was like, what? I'm in great health. For 2 years, my doctor's been telling me there's nothing wrong with me. What do you mean I didn't disclose my heart disease? And so one thing kind of led to another. And it turns out that I had a non-ischemic cardiomyopathy. My ejection fraction was in the 30s, which is why I was so tired all the time. I had gained so much weight. And fortunately, UAB Hospital in Birmingham had just become a partner with Women Heart and had just opened up a women's heart health clinic. And so when I went, and once all that kind of finally came out, I knew that I wanted to get involved with Women Heart, because I did not want any woman to ever go through that 2 years of thinking that it's just all in their head, or that there's nothing wrong. Like, there was something wrong. And what was wrong was a medical system that didn't consider the fact that heart disease is the #1 killer of women. And they didn't even think to check my heart.
That's just an incredible story. So what inspired you, Joy, to get involved with the Treat Me Right campaign specifically?
Because I want to help other women avoid what I went through, for at least 3 years, for sure. I mean, 2 for sure. And, even up to a 3rd year, I wasn't receiving the proper treatment. And even though my health has improved significantly and I've had great, wonderful doctors, no matter how long I live, I will always look back and wonder, if I had been able to receive treatment a little bit sooner, would I've lived a little bit longer? And, I had every advantage. I had great healthcare insurance. I lived in a city with good doctors. I like any sort of advantage or privilege that somebody could have, I had, and yet this still happened to me. And it made me think about all the other women who maybe don't have insurance that was as comprehensive as my insurance was, or don't have live in rural areas and they don't have access to health care, or they don't have the ability to know. And I want to keep that from happening to anybody else.
Was there a moment, Joy, where in your care you realized, ooh, my voice really needs to be heard more loudly, more clearly?
Yes. So when I very first went to see Dr. Pambukian at UAB's Women's Heart Clinic, when I told her my story, I was just outraged and thought that what happened to me was something unique. Like I had somehow or another slipped through the cracks. This was like a 1 in a million thing, that it would be so uncommon. And when she looked at me and said, "It happens all the time," I was livid. And then when I found out that just a simple blood test would have indicated that I was in advanced heart failure, like I wasn't just a little bit sick, I was really, really sick. Like a simple blood test or a simple EKG, like what was given to me in my life insurance exam, like a life insurance exam saved my life, even though doctor after doctor after doctor had told me there was nothing wrong with me, that it was just me being a sad, empty nester, like need to go out, get some friends, go do something fun kind of thing. It was just a life insurance exam as part of nonprofit organization succession planning that saved my life. Like that is just crazy. And yet, I've never had any cancer. There is no history of cancer in my family. And yet every year I am required to do all sorts of cancer screenings. But the one thing that I'm most likely to die from as a woman is not routinely screened for.
Joy, it's just dawning on me. I have heard your story many times before, and it's just dawning on me in this moment that your symptoms weren't enough to do a comprehensive workup in the system. But what was enough to do a comprehensive workup of the system is money, is the insurance policy, and what that's going to cost, right? The insurance, the insurance company, right, to make sure that you're okay. It is really sort of maddening to think about.
Yeah.
So in the context of your journey, how did you learn to advocate for yourself during your heart health journey?
I really believe it was through attending the Science and Leadership Symposium at Women Heart. To go there was such a powerful experience. And I'm so grateful that Women Heart is able to offer that, to go and to be surrounded by so many women and find out that we all had similar experiences in one way or the other, and that we've all kind of gone through the same emotional journey, because it is life-changing to find out that you have heart disease. And especially, one of the first things that my doctor told me was do not Google. But of course I did. And, you're reading all of these things and whoa, it scares you. And so to be surrounded by other women who have gone through that sort of life-changing experience and a diagnosis where like you really might die, and how you think about your life and what you want your legacy to be and how you want to live the rest of your life. And at Women Heart, I felt like I received not just the understanding, but I also received the knowledge to be able to go forward. And to, every woman I know is probably sick of me saying, insist that your doctor check your heart. A simple blood test and a simple EKG, that won't catch everything, but it would have saved me, right? Like less than $250 worth of medical intervention. Yet, like, just you've got to do it. And I thought about my children and all of the other women in my life. And I don't want anybody to ever have to go through that.
So powerful. So in the context of your journey, what does evidence-based care mean to you as a patient?
I think what I learned the most is that evidence-based needs to include evidence on women. And it surprised me to learn that so many of the past cardiac studies have only included men. And what really, like when you talk about all these turning points, one of them is that, if I had been a man and I had gone into a doctor and I had said, I'm short of breath, I'm jittery, like my heart is like just racing all the time. I'm short of breath. My chest hurts at time because my heart races so much. I would have been sent straight to the emergency room and been checked out. But instead, I was told that you're just getting close to 50 years old and that's all in your head. It's all menopause. It's just how things are. You're just anxious. Maybe you're depressed because your kids are moving out. Like it's the evidence of saying that women's symptoms are different. Women react different, and we tolerate certain things differently as well. So just that the evidence has to include women. And I think that's great that Women Heart, is really an advocate for that as well.
Absolutely. And I couldn't have said it better myself, that evidence needs to include women. And we're taking steps in that direction. Absolutely. But you're right. It's still, even in 2025, the overwhelming research and studies that have been done in heart disease have been done on men. So let's turn to your Women Heart experience. What really encouraged you to take that leap to become a Women Heart champion?
Oh, Dr. Pambukian at UAB, she said, this is a great organization. She is a champion for women understanding their heart, which is why she started the Women's Heart Clinic at UAB. She no longer works there. She's now at another hospital, but UAB has continued that great Women's Heart Clinic that she began along with Dr. Kirkland. And, she's just like, you've got to do this. Like you've got the opportunity and you have a unique time and you went through this experience to help other people not have to go through it. And so she pushed me.
I love that. So if you think about your journey within Women Heart, what would you say has been the highlight of how the organization has supported you?
The highlight was attending the Science and Leadership Symposium. I absolutely loved that. Before COVID, I had the opportunity to go speak at several other Women Heart events to groups of doctors or to media to share my story and hopefully let other people hear it. And then through being able to do that, there's always usually, other people that come up and say, hey, I heard this and I listened to what you said. And so I went back and I insisted that my doctor do an EKG, or I insisted that he check out my heart. And do you know what? Guess what? This happened as well. And, or this happened or that happened. And, just to think that, yeah, I went through something that nobody should have to go through. But because of that, somebody else was helped. And that feeling of knowing that you can sort of turn a bad experience into something that's helped somebody else is really important to me personally.
Joy, I talk about Women Heart Champions having the superpower of having heart disease. And it's sort of what you're saying, sort of turning a bad experience and making it a positive thing. I know you've already spoken about this a little bit, but can you just reiterate and emphasize what tips you would offer to women who are struggling to speak up during their medical appointments?
Well, I think I can only speak from my own experience, but for me, I just always went along with what my doctor said. And I don't know if that's just unique to the way that I was raised, but it was always, you trust your doctor, you go along with your doctor, you don't argue, you don't speak up, you just you listen to them, they're the professional, right? Like even if whatever my doctor had said, I would have just gone along with it. And some of that maybe is just being from the South or being, a good Southern genteel woman or anything like that. But now, we have so many resources. And I know Dr. Pambukian said not to Google. So don't Google, go to Women Heart. and find out more. But you really do have to take that into your own hands. So I would say find out as much as you can from reputable sources like Women Heart. And if your doctor doesn't listen, go to a different doctor. Any doctor who won't even just hear you out, really, you should change. And I know that might be easier said than done, especially if you have an hourly job and it's difficult for you to get off, or you have to miss work. So I'm not dismissing that can be a difficult thing for someone to have to do, but it's important to try to figure out a way to do that if you can. That you have to be your own advocate.
Absolutely.
And even like I went to a dermatologist one time and just I was explaining that my skin had changed because of some of the medications I had to take. Of course, having a heart that works well, I'll take some dry skin anyway. And the dermatologist argued with me that I must have misunderstood my diagnosis because I looked too healthy to have heart disease. I'm like, no, I'm really sure. Like, I've got the bracelet and everything that, the medical alert bracelet. Like, I'm certain of what my diagnosis is. Like, I'm positive about this. So, and of course, I'm like, I'll just have to have dry skin. I'm not going to that doctor anymore. I'm not going to listen. I'm just not going to put up with that. So
it is remarkable, right? Because I think what's happening and what we are discovering and uncovering in the context of Women Heart and the lived experience of our champions is the bias towards heart disease being a man's disease, which obviously we all know is incorrect, permeates not just across society, but even within the healthcare system, right? That there is this, you're young, you must not have heart disease. You're a woman, you must not have heart disease. You don't suffer from being having obesity or being overweight. You must not have heart disease. And I think that so many of our champions go against the stereotypes of what is in the people's minds about what you need to look like in order to have heart disease.
Right. You don't look sick.
You don't look sick. Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't look sick, and therefore you can't be sick, right? Like that.
Right.
Sort of,
very invisible. And
yes.
Oh, and just one other thing is through, I have participated in some genetic studies and discovered through this that I have most likely that my heart disease is caused from a genetic component. And so, I know it can be somewhat controversial or a difficult decision, but just for me, that was very helpful to be able to do that and to understand. And so, it can be scary to think about what you might find out, but I did it and I encouraged my children to do it to make sure that they don't have the same gene variant. Several of my siblings have done it as well. And I just say, at least just think about it because it can help. And if you know about it ahead of time, you can make lifestyle choices or even medical choices that could add years to your life.
Absolutely. So this is all really what the Treat Me Right campaign is all about. It encourages women to ask the right questions and to really advocate for themselves. So what are some key questions that you now ask your providers when you go for your visits?
So to see my cardiologist, I am so very lucky that my cardiologist really is very proactive. She's the one explaining to me a lot of the different things. So that's fabulous. As far as other doctors, I just go in and I ask them at any given time. Like one time I fell down and hurt my knee and I went in and the doctor prescribed medicine. And I said, wait, I don't think I'm supposed to take that because I have heart disease. And again, I got you have heart disease? I'm like, yep, it's right there in my paperwork. You can read it. Just like always asking, I have reminder, I have heart disease. Will this medication affect the other medicine that I take or my heart in general? So I always ask that. I always ask, even if I just go in for a routine doctor's appointment, if they're going to do blood work anyway, I say, can you do this test? It's oh gosh, now I can't even, can you do these tests just to make sure that all these levels are right. I don't go back to my doctor for another 6 months, but if you're going to be drawing blood, could you just run this regardless? And just always ask. The first question for anything should be, should you consider my heart could be the cause of this? Is there anything that could be going on?
Those are really great tips. And especially if you're not seeing somebody for your heart, right? If it's for some other reason, to ask about the interaction between medications, and in the interactions in some cases between different diagnoses. I think those are really, really helpful tips. So how has being a Women Heart Champion helped you feel empowered or confident in your various healthcare experiences?
I think it gave me the knowledge and the power and the information and the red bags of courage to, I'd keep those with me all the time. And, if somebody says something, they're like, really? It's like, yep, here, let me whip out a brochure and show you, this is what you need to know. This is really it. And of course, I've sort of self-selected out of those sorts of situations now by making sure that all my providers are, on board with what I feel. But, I think that you have to demand that you be treated with respect and be treated right. And that's, the whole name of this campaign. And I think as women, maybe there's a history of not always being treated right. And I think as women with heart disease, it's especially so because so much of the medical training is biased towards men's symptoms and how men present. And so it's just really given me the knowledge and the power and the confidence and the platform and the ability to speak out about it.
I love that. So as we wrap up, what message do you want women watching today to walk away with?
That heart disease is the #1 killer of women and has been for many years. That you have to advocate for yourself. You should always ask for a routine heart panel or a heart screening or something to just have a baseline so that going forward where things are. You should have doctors that listen. Even if you don't have heart disease, you should insist on doctors that listen, that look at you holistically, and a good pharmacist who can catch things if doctors sometimes don't. Having a really good pharmacist that you can ask questions to and do it. And also to have confidence in yourself. Even maybe you don't have heart disease, but you have something else and you keep going and keep getting dismissed. Like, yourself and your body, and you have to really stand up and advocate for yourself. And even if no matter how important that doctor is, no matter where they went to medical school, no matter how many degrees they have, you are the expert on yourself, and you have to demand it, that they treat you right. And that's why I love the name of this campaign. Like, you've got to be treated right. Like, not just by the world in general, but not just by your doctors, but the world in general.
Absolutely.
You have to stand up for yourself. And I think we're seeing that across our country in so many different ways. Like, we have to treat each other right.
Absolutely. So how can one get involved in the Treat Me Right campaign or support other women in their advocacy journey?
Womenheart.org. The best way to do it. Go to Women Heart and learn more.
Yeah, and just to also say that you can also apply today to be a Women Heart Champion. We are taking applications as we speak for the next class. So we encourage you to do that. We are at our time, but Joy, I want to thank you so much for your courage, for turning your challenges into this power that you've got and this gift that you have, and sharing this knowledge far and wide. Your voice is so strong, and I can hear that, and I hope others can hear that who might be also going through similar challenges. And your dedication to making sure no woman is left unheard is really commendable, and is something that we all need to do, no matter who we are. Right? Is helping others to really lift up their voice so that they get the care that they deserve. So to you all, if you're ever feeling dismissed, unseen, unsure of what to ask at a doctor's appointment, you are absolutely not alone. Women Heart's Treat Me Right campaign is here for you. It's here to equip you with facts, with questions to ask, and with community so that you know what you need to do to take charge of your heart health. So please join me in thanking Joy, but also join us next time to learn more about Treat Me Right and to join this movement. Thanks so much.
Thank you.